You're now watching Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.
All right, Jimmy Ott along with Randy McKay. Yes, indeed, the red-hot Randy McKay again for the sixth time in 7 weeks. He is going 2-1. Feeling so good, he's going to expand it a little bit. We got 3 picks with just a teaser involved there. So trying to keep it going 6 out of 7 weeks, a 2-1 week, including last week. Let's start off with the big one in the NFC East. Where these teams looking ahead, don't know, but boy, it seems like Washington has Philly's number. They push the number in most places, but that was a bad push if you had Washington. They really do play well against them, it seems, every time. So here comes Dallas, whooping up, kind of being a bully, whooping up on the mediocre to bad teams against the Rams, and now they go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia at home, Randy, a 3-point favorite here.
Yeah, and that's what Dallas kind of does. They kind of whip up on the bad teams, and then when they get against a team here like Philly or San Francisco, kind of goes the other way. Trade deadline here. You got to, look out. Of course, Philly's already acquired Byard from Tennessee, which should help them in this game. We'll see if Dallas does anything. I think that Dallas's defensive injuries is going to catch up to them in this game with Leighton Vander Esch and Diggs. We hadn't seen other teams exploit that as much, except for when they played San Fran. That game was a blowout. I could see this game going similar, if Philly can run the ball, do the run-pass action. Hurts maybe a little bit banged up too, but we'll see how that goes. But, I like the defensive line matchup against Dallas' offensive line. And then the other side, I like, the offensive line, still healthy, I think, with Lane Johnson against that Dallas front that seems like in these big games gives up big yards rushing against the opponent. The look-ahead line here was 3.5 before the season, so we're down to 3, but I see these two teams splitting. I see Philly getting this game and maybe Dallas getting the game when it comes to Dallas. So -3 here for me for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, get extra value this football season with BetRivers Squares. You can win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays on any game with the Squares icon to earn a square. Brought to you by our friends over at BetRivers. So, big win, Philly-Dallas. Now we get to this matchup, Cincinnati and Buffalo. And, of course, this was the one that was cut short last year on prime time because of DeMar Hamlin situation. Boy, they've been pointing to that bye week. Maybe with Joe Burrow, with all of his injuries, said a lot of conversation. Should you just sit him completely and get him as healthy as he can after that bye week? He said he's still not 100%. He sure in the heck fooled me. He looked great. Not just going 28 of 32, hitting his first 18 passes, okay, for a completion set, breaking his own record. But, man, his running, 3rd and 10, design quarterback draw, gets it easily. Man, he looked very much 100%. Look out, because when he is tough, especially against his butt. You talk about injuries mounting up on the defense. Kind of the deal with Buffalo, huh? I mean, if New England can go up and down the field, what's Joey B and the crew going to do here? Cincinnati, light 2.5-point favorite at home, Randy, against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, in this game, we did lose a little line value here. It's supposed to be 1.5, and I just want to get ahead of the move here. Make sure you guys get the 2.5 because this game will probably go to 3. This team matches up well against Buffalo. We've seen them in the last 2 meetings, even though that game got cut short. They were dominating that game. Then we saw in the playoffs, they had to go to Buffalo. They blew them out of the stadium there. That game was over pretty quickly. Right. Now we're against a different Buffalo team, still has those bad defensive injuries that are going to linger this team, and I think make this team a wild card team, maybe even lucky to make the playoffs, as we've seen, even struggle with Tampa Bay in the red zone, that kind of thing on that short Thursday night. They do get extra rest against Cincy, so otherwise this would be a top play as much, but it's still a decent enough play that I can use it here in this selection. We saw Burrow and company get ripe against that San Fran team as predicted. They handled that game, and then of course, in the second half, you always got to look for that. Josh Allen might have a little bit of success in that first half. Lou Anarumo makes those adjustments. He picked out Brock Purdy 2-3 times there with his defense in the second half. Decent adjustments there. They got a little bit of running game going too with Mixon, which they might be able to do here in this game. Burrow and Mixon were running well. Hopefully Burrow doesn't have to run too much so he doesn't take any hits and gets through this game for us. And I just figure at the light price of 2.5 now, Cincinnati's still a play against a team that they've played well against, and that's a good line here. Cincinnati minus 2.5 for me.
All right. I think it's still light. I would definitely try and get on it. I anticipate that line going to 3. We will see. But, yeah, and Anarumo, man, getting a little bit more steam this year from possible head coaching job in the offseason, that would be a massive loss for Cincinnati. I mean, Zach Taylor's not the strongest on the bench. Joe Burrow kind of neutralizes that on the offense. Anarumo handles the defense. And he's pretty damn good against us, a one-dimensional offense like Buffalo is. We're still looking in search of that running game. All right, a little teaser this week. Let's get to it. The Bears and the Saints. The Saints, found connecting over the top against the Colts. Come from behind win. Down double digits. They win by double digits in Indianapolis. And second straight productive game for Derek Carr. And getting a little bit better pass protection with the New Orleans, and that was a major problem early. And then the Raiders, after their Monday night defeat, probably should have been worse than it was, but they go from Detroit back home to Las Vegas, where they host the Giants. Saints are 7.5. You're looking to tease it down to 1.5. Raiders are 2.5. You're looking to take the Giants and move it up to plus 8.5.
Yeah, kind of picking against the Chicago Bear team. It was probably the Bajent man in there again. We saw not a great effort. I didn't get to see hardly any of that game. I was flying out here to Vegas and didn't get to see hardly any of that game, but I looked at the box score and it looked like it was all Chargers in that game. I survived, thankfully, that one. I'm going to still pick against this Bears team. Now they got to go on the road into voodoo land there in New Orleans. Tough for a kid to adjust to that dome and the noise, and going to be tough on him. And, of course, they've been real vanilla with him. Of course, his receiver, I did see a highlight of him dropping a pass that he threw that was pretty nice there to open up the Chargers game. So, and then I'm impressed with the Saints' effort there against Indianapolis in a shootout. Looked like maybe Carr's getting it going with those receivers. And that young kid, Shareed, looks like he's pretty good there for that Saints. Could exploit this weak Chicago secondary and at least get us the win there. I don't like laying big number, but teasing it down looks very appealing. And then with the other leg, pretty standard one here. You're getting Daniel Jones back for the Giants. A 2.5 point spread. You can take it up to 8.5. Can the Raiders beat this Giants team who's probably got jobbed pretty bad there with officials? Boomer Esiason put out that big tweet there. When is the offensive center for the Jets get to center the ball there? That clock should have ran out according to the rule book. So I can't believe that's not reviewable or that wasn't changed. But it cost the Giants the game there. Now they get Daniel Jones back, stability at quarterback. I mean, they had to go all the way down to that third stringer, the Italian kid, and they didn't even let him do anything hardly except for run pass options. So now we got Jones, a legit, decent quarterback in the league with a decent defense. I might even play this game straight myself with the Giants and really liking the teaser leg getting 8.5. So make sure you get over them key numbers with that teaser. It should be good to go.
DeVito, yes, they got the opening possession in overtime, holding penalty for 3 straight screens. -1, no yardage, no yardage. 3 straight screens. He hasn't got very deep into the playbook with him, so can't run screens over and over. I mean,
and Dabo made some mistakes in that game. I got to lower him in my coaching rankings after that game. As far as clock management, probably should have went for it rather than throwing out a kicker with a bad leg there. They said he was hurt to know. And then in overtime, you're with DeVito. Don't take the ball. It would have been better off for him to kick off. Go on defense. Would have been a better strategy move. So a little bit down on Dabo, even though he's done a good job in his first 2 years. But this year, it's been a little shaky.
Yeah, I love when the announcers say the analytics say here. Well, every game is different, okay? I mean, the analytics are not the same in USC Cal as they are in Jets Giants. I mean, it's just that simple. Absolutely, you kick the ball and make the Jets try and score a TD. I mean, at that point, when you got DeVito, if you're that scared of him, I mean, you're just holding on for a tie, basically, at that point. But sometimes these coaches do things because they don't want to be criticized. And if he kicked off in overtime, it's unusual. Well, that would have been a loser mentality, the whole thing. You mentioned Shaheed for the New Orleans Saints. They clocked the second fastest in the NFL this year, only behind a cheetah, Tyreek Hill. So he can go, and he just blew by over the top of that secondary twice. Bears secondary is certainly vulnerable. 3 catches, 51-yard average. Not a bad average for Shaheed. So basically got him for nothing a couple of years ago. So Saints -1.5, Giants +8.5. Teaser in that one. 3 more picks for Randy. Again, 6 out of 7, 2-1 weeks. Plugging along, man. Careful out there in Las Vegas and Halloween, boy. Get a little spooky. For Randy McKay, I'm Jimmy Ott, the Sports Bettor's Paradise on the BetRivers Network.